Welcome back, and today we are talking about Hunted by E. Amber Brown. Again, do not come for me in the comments if I mispronounce anything. Y'all are gonna learn I mispronounce a lot of shit. Back on March 25th, 2024, I asked the authors on TT to recommend their books to me. E. Amber Brown was one of those authors, and this author had asked for me to read and review their Donatus series. Yeah, don't come for me. As of right now, there are 3 books out in the series, but there are still more coming. I do know it's not finished yet. Also, please remember that anything I tell you about Hunted is from the ebook version, not the physical. This book is roughly 275 pages. On Amazon, it is classified as a YA dystopian read. I would say it's pretty spot on in that classification. Hunted was copyrighted in 2023 and, as far as I can tell, was self-published. Both Amazon and Goodreads have the same blurb. The world doesn't accept Donatus, the gifted, and it may never will. The government has sworn protection of its people against the Donatus. If you are unlucky to be born as one, you are tested and assigned to the military base of your abilities. You are either an animalist, flyer, healer, immortal, shifter, seer, reader, or traveler. But what if you are born different than those categories? What if you are a Donatus that has a unique ability that the government has never heard of? So you go into hiding, running from place to place, hoping the testers don't find you and don't mark you as Donatus. I am different. I am Raven. I am a Donatus. I was in hiding but sadly got caught, and now my time is ticking until they figure out who I am and what I can do. Can I trust the man who saved me, or trust the man who wants to save everyone? In a world of Donatus, can anyone be trusted? On Amazon, Hunted has 12 ratings with a 4.4 star average, and on Goodreads it has 6 ratings with 5 written reviews and has a 4.33 star average. The book does contain a trigger warning page. The author put that there is torture, mention of SA, death, language, violence, gun violence, kidnapping, emotional abuse, physical abuse, and blood. On the ebook version of Hunted, Chapter 1 is your trigger page. And then Chapter 2 actually starts this story. Now, this was done on purpose. The author physically did this on purpose, so you're not missing anything. The author physically made trigger warning page, Chapter 1, so you were forced to read it. And then Chapter 2 actually starts your true story. So at the start of Hunted, we start with the talking about fate, how the gifted are called Donatus, and with Raven, who is our main female character, telling us why it's actually a curse rather than a gift. She is in a testing facility that tests to see if you are Donatus or not. Apparently this happens through a blood test to see if you carry the gene. Now, if you do not carry the gene, they send you home to live your normal everyday life. However, if you do carry the gene, you are kept in the testing center. You are sent to one or kept in one, whichever. And they perform all these tests on you to try and make your abilities reveal themselves. There are youth who this testing is happening to, who carry the gene but do not have any abilities. Apparently, there's a way to determine that, and I'm not exactly sure. I don't think the book actually tells you. But if you carry the gene and they know you have a strength, like you radiate power, they're going to keep you. This is what happened to Raven. She carries the gene, She radiates power, like it just flows off of her, but she refuses to reveal her abilities. She goes on to tell us about different types of tests they perform to reveal these abilities. And while she's in the middle of one of hers, number 47, 47 tests, that's insanity, over 3 years. She's been there 3 years, 47 tests, and she has not broken. Unfortunately, in the middle of a test, a group of rescuers break into the testing facility, destroy the facility. They kill the guards, they kill the testers, they kill anybody that's harming the youth that are being tested on. These rescuers actually are Donatus as well, that have been rescued from other testing sites prior. These rescuers take everybody to a place called Seir. Again, do not come for me if I said that wrong. We learn that the rescuer that saved Raven's name is Nicholas, and we learn that the person who runs Seir is Mr. Helio. And we also learn that the rescuers are called the Defenders. I'm sorry, it's such a predictable name for a group of rescuers, but it's still really cool. I still like it. So when they arrive at, again, Seir, something like that, they are given food, something they weren't really given at the testing facility. But they're given food as much as they physically can eat, given these protein drinks, get their bodies back up. They're also given showers, and Raven makes a mention of how, soap and shampoo, and she doesn't get all that, it's been years since she's seen that. They get clean clothes, which are sweats, and they have different colors. Raven's the one that figures out that the different colors have different meanings and power levels. So there is a girls' dormitory and a boys' dormitory, and apparently there are 6 boys and 6 girls in a group. Nicholas is in charge of the boy group of Group Alpha with his 6 boys, and a girl named Jessica is in charge of the 6 girls for Group Alpha. And yes, those 6 girls includes Raven. She goes to bed and wakes up the next day still thinking that there is a reader messing with her mind, that all of this is fake, all of this is just a reader trying to get her to break. Raven, in her mind, is questioning everything. Why they were brought there, why they were rescued, why the food, why the drinks, why the clothes, why this, why that, why Group Alpha. She questions everything. And I honestly think it's a great little detail that the author put into the story. I can't remember exactly how many days had passed. I know it's been a couple, I think, where Raven wakes up and finds herself back in the testing facility, thinking she was right, that a reader had messed with her, and all of this. But apparently, she was just having a nightmare. Jessica was able to wake her up and bring her out of it. Said she was crying, the whole 9. It's a heartbreaking nightmare to have. I mean, talk about trauma. So, I personally feel really bad about not being able to go too in-depth with this story, because if I go too in-depth, or if I tell you too much, you really won't read the story. And that's kind of the whole point of a book, is to read it. There are some things I will tell you, something like she does start to open up to Nicholas by speaking to him and forming a connection. She shocks the shit out of Jessica by talking. That was amusing. I think Jessica was more shocked when she got Raven to write answers down versus when Raven starts speaking, but she still shocks Raven. And then I think one of the best little things in this book, and yes, it's a spoiler, but I think it's absolutely adorable, and I think it's absolutely worth mentioning, is that Raven has roommates, Group Alpha, they're all roommates. And one of the girls, Sasha, loves snow. So she does something very special for Sasha that involves snow, and I won't tell you what it is, but it makes the little girl just completely in love with Raven. And it was just such a sweet little moment that was added that I just thought needed to be mentioned. There's a point in the story where one of Raven's abilities kind of goes ape. She's having a nightmare and one of her abilities just kind of goes off. Thankfully she doesn't hurt anybody, but unfortunately now she has to go to a individual room because her abilities, even though she technically has control, her abilities are still too dangerous to be around others. After her ability kind of went a little crazy, she opened up more to Nicholas, telling him about what had happened and why it had happened, and explained that in her nightmare there was a man named Commander Xavier, and yes, that name is very, very, very important to the storyline. So is the man, but keep that in mind. But she goes on to explain how she knows him, what happened with him, basically kind of why he's one of her demons. Things progress with Raven and Nicholas. Raven even attempts a class that is run by Mr. Helio. It teaches like government issues or things that are going on the outside world with the government. Yeah, I'm sure you can guess how that went. But being in that class had opened up more wounds for Raven. And again, she opened up more to Nicholas. And she told him about the day her abilities had revealed themselves. And unfortunately, all of what happened and all of what happened and what had come after. Nicholas tries to do something really sweet for Raven by taking her off the compound to go see something. Won't tell you what it is, read the book. Although it was a really sweet moment. But again, I won't tell you. When they get back, things happen. Of course, because you gotta have a little bit of drama. But the drama starts here. The defenders are going to another testing site to rescue more Donatus. Donatus. I am never going to be able to say that word properly. Anyways, Raven wants to go. Everybody's against it. And this girl is like, no, I'm going to go, and here's the reasons why. And she just word vomits everything she can do, or at least everything she knows she can do. And she's like, trust me, I got this. But of course, she ends up going, and of course things do not go the way she was hoping. While on the mission, Raven comes face to face with one of her demons, Xavier. Xavier has Miguel, and honestly, I don't know the relationship between the two of them. Like, are they master and servant? Are they friends? I'm not exactly sure. He does treat him like a friend, like further into the book, but Miguel also treats him like, master servant kind of thing. But anyways, Xavier has Miguel take Raven to his residence where, he puts this thing on her wrist that just completely cuts her off from all her abilities. And then she ends up spending, I want to say like roughly 2 months there, and a lot happens. A lot. Like, I have to admit, I was kind of shocked. Because I did not see that coming. But anyways, it happens. And no, I won't tell you. Read the book. Xavier has to go away on another trip. And Raven is begging to go with. He says no. He explains why. She says fine. She then convinces Miguel to take her off the compound to go find this like fruit that Miguel always brings her. He ends up taking her to his hometown, because apparently that's where the fruit is, or the fruit snack, whatever the heck it is from. It's from his hometown. Which, by the way, was actually kind of a really neat detail, again, just to kind of throw it in there. It's like, really? While they are there, poor Raven just seems to have shit luck, because her trip does not go as planned, and she gets taken. And, you know, she didn't want to be taken. I sat here and I thought, did I want to tell you who took her? Do I want to tell you where she went? And did I want to tell you all of that? And then I thought, no, let's end our little synapse here, because honestly, from that point on, it's just really good. It's just a good ending to the book. And it leaves it off for the second book almost beautifully. Now, I rated this book a 4. And like I said, the setup for the second book at the end is just masterfully done. When you read this book, you will notice that Raven is your narrator. Something I was not aware of, but was made aware of, that the reason why at the beginning it was very choppy, almost incomplete sentences, all of that, was because it is Raven's inner monologue. You know, she didn't finish school, she doesn't have a very good education, she hasn't talked in like 3 years, so it's very minimal. But then by the end, it's, you know, so much better, like complete sentences, fully developed, that kind of, you know, her language skill has just fully come to fruition. I do like that there is world building in this one, but it's kept to a minimum. Your imagination is highly required in the world building, and I think it's just I don't know if the author did it on purpose, or if the storyline just took precedence over the world building. But either way, I really like it. Because if you haven't learned by now, I cannot stand when there's an overabundance of over-descript. It just takes away from the storyline. Something I do have a massive problem with is, yes, I know she's 18. Yes, I know she's been denied any kind of affection, attention, kindness, anything. I get that she is touch deprived, but girl is clinging. Girl is clinging, and she falls so easily. Like, she fell for Nicholas, and then she fell for the next guy. And if you haven't figured out who the second guy is, just read the book, you'll figure it out. But it's like I saw the first one coming, because, you know, he rescued her, and, you know, that hero complex kind of thing. I did not see the second one coming, but she seriously fell way too quickly. Like, all it took was a kiss? Really? Really? Hana does take us on a ride. Hana is a story that I don't know if it's predictable or not. For me, it was kind of like, well, alrighty then. And then it was like, yeah, I didn't see that coming. And then it was like, really? Like, I had a lot of shock and awe in this book. But there were some predictabilities in it as well. But I can promise you, the rest of the series is probably better. I mean, this was top-notch book, but the other two, I think they're better. So my question for you, Have you read the book? What'd you think? If not, would you read it based on what you've heard? Remember, no nasty or hate comments. Reading is subjective. And I'll see you all for episode 4. Later.